On January 12, 2026, Somalia shocked the world by announcing it was ending all agreements with the United Arab Emirates. The news broke suddenly, sending ripples through diplomatic circles and catching many by surprise. For years, Somalia and the UAE had maintained a complex relationship, but this announcement marked a dramatic turning point in the Horn of Africa. President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed's government made it clear the UAE was out and Somalia was taking back control of its ports, military bases, and foreign policy. This was not just a policy shift, but a bold declaration of sovereignty and self-determination. The Somali leadership emphasized that the era of foreign dominance over its key assets was over. For years, the UAE had been a major player in Somalia, investing, training soldiers, and running key infrastructure. Emirati companies managed ports, built roads, and provided military support. The UAE's involvement was seen by some as a lifeline, but by others as a form of control that limited Somalia's independence. This sudden break was like firing your biggest sponsor mid-season, risky, bold, and dramatic. The stakes were high, and the risks even higher. Somalia was stepping into uncharted territory, with no guarantees about what would come next. Mogadishu accused the UAE of acting more like a colonial power than a partner, undermining Somalia's sovereignty. Critics pointed to decades of foreign interference in Somali affairs, and many citizens saw this move as a long-overdue stand against outside influence. The move sent shockwaves across Africa and the Middle East, raising questions about Somalia's future and the region's stability. Regional powers scrambled to respond, and analysts debated whether this would inspire other African nations to assert their independence or lead to greater instability. Is this a new era of Somali independence, or a dangerous gamble that could backfire? The Somali people are divided, some hopeful, others anxious about the challenges ahead. The world is left wondering if Somalia can truly stand on its own. Somalia is betting everything on the principle that its unity and territorial integrity are not for sale. The government is calling for national solidarity, urging citizens to rally behind this bold new direction and prove that Somalia can chart its own course. The world is watching to see what happens next. Will Somalia's gamble pay off, or will the challenges prove too great? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Somalia's decision has changed the game in the Horn of Africa. Somalia didn't just ask for a renegotiation. It made a bold and unprecedented move by tearing up every single deal it had with the UAE, ranging from lucrative port contracts to critical military cooperation agreements. This wasn't a minor diplomatic spat. It was a sweeping rejection of years of foreign involvement in Somalia's most vital sectors. The Somali government publicly accused the UAE of deliberately bypassing Mogadishu's authority, choosing instead to negotiate directly with Somalia's semi-autonomous regions like Puntland and Somaliland. This, they argued, was a direct threat to the country's fragile national unity, fueling internal divisions and undermining the central government's legitimacy. Major agreements, such as the high-profile DP World contract to manage Berbera port, a key gateway for trade in the Horn of Africa, were scrapped overnight. The government insisted that these deals, signed without Mogadishu's approval, were illegal and void. Security arrangements were also abruptly cancelled. This included the UAE's training programs for Somali troops, which had been a cornerstone of Somalia's efforts to rebuild its national army and stabilize the country after decades of conflict. By taking these steps, Somalia effectively fired its biggest investor and most significant security partner in a single dramatic move. The decision sent shockwaves through the region and made international headlines. The message from Mogadishu was crystal clear. All foreign business, investment, and aid must go through the central government, not through regional authorities or back channels. This was a demand for respect and recognition of Somalia's sovereignty. It was a bold stand for sovereignty and self-determination, but it came with enormous risks. The Somali economy, already fragile, now faced uncertainty, and the loss of security support raised fears about stability and safety on the streets. The government knew this move would be controversial, both at home and abroad. but Somali leaders believed it was essential for rebuilding a unified Somali state, free from foreign interference and internal fragmentation. In effect, Somalia drew a line in the sand, declaring that it would no longer tolerate foreign exploitation of its internal divisions. The country was determined to chart its own path, no matter the cost. The era of backdoor deals and unchecked foreign influence was over. Somalia was ready to take control of its own future. What pushed Somalia to this breaking point? Two major events. First, Israel recognized Somaliland's independence in December 2025, a direct challenge to Somalia's territorial integrity. Mogadishu suspected the UAE, a close Somaliland partner, of orchestrating the move. Then, a UAE-backed Yemeni separatist leader secretly landed in Somaliland on a UAE plane without Mogadishu's approval. For Somalia, this was a blatant violation of sovereignty. These incidents capped years of frustration over the UAE's divide-and-rule strategy, supporting regional states to weaken the central government. Mogadishu saw the UAE as an active threat to national unity. Cutting ties was a desperate but necessary act to defend Somalia's existence as a unified state. The government hoped this bold move would reclaim control over its destiny. The federal government's decision exposed deep divisions within Somalia. Regional leaders in Somaliland, Puntland, and Jubaland flatly rejected Mogadishu's authority and vowed to keep working with the UAE. For them, the UAE is a vital partner, not a threat. DP World, the port operator, sided with the regions, insisting their contracts were with local authorities, not the central government. This crisis turned into a constitutional showdown, highlighting the limits of Mogadishu's power. Somalia's federal system is fragile, with constant tension between the center and the regions. The UAE split has brought these disputes to a boiling point. One part of Somalia is cutting ties, while others are rolling out the red carpet. On the streets of Mogadishu, the public rallied behind the government's decision. Hundreds protested, waving Somali flags and demanding respect for their country's sovereignty. The demonstrations were a direct response to Israel's recognition of Somaliland and the UAE's perceived interference. For many, this was about national pride and a rejection of foreign meddling. The protests gave the government a boost, showing its tough stance resonated with ordinary Somalis. But the mood was very different in Somaliland and Puntland, where the UAE is seen as a benefactor. The divide in public opinion mirrors the political split within the country. Somalia's challenge, forging a single national identity amid deep regional differences. Somalia's location makes it one of the world's most strategic hotspots. Sitting at the very tip of the Horn of Africa, Somalia is a gateway between Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Its coastline stretches for over 3,000 kilometers, hugging some of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Whoever controls this region can influence the flow of goods, oil, and even people between continents. It sits by the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, a choke point for global trade between the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea. Every year, billions of dollars worth of cargo pass through this narrow waterway, making it a lifeline for international commerce. Any disruption here could send shockwaves through global markets, affecting everything from oil prices to food supplies. That's why powers like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, China, and the US are all vying for influence. Each country brings its own ambitions. Some want to secure trade, others seek military advantage, and some are after new markets or political leverage. The Horn of Africa has become a stage for global competition, with each player trying to outmaneuver the others. They're building bases, investing in ports, and backing local factions to secure their interests. New infrastructure projects promise development, but also bring foreign troops and private security forces. Behind the scenes, rival powers fund political groups and militias, hoping to tip the balance in their favor. The UAE's string of pearls strategy, ports and bases along the Red Sea, aims to control trade and project power. By establishing a network of outposts, the UAE hopes to secure its own shipping and gain leverage over rivals. This strategy is reshaping the region's security landscape, drawing in new actors and raising the stakes for everyone involved. For Somalia, foreign investment brings both opportunity and risk, money and jobs, but also manipulation and division. While new ports and infrastructure can boost the economy and create employment, they can also deepen political rifts and fuel resentment among local communities who feel left out or exploited. Local disputes quickly become international incidents in this high-stakes chess game. A clash between rival groups can draw in foreign militaries or trigger diplomatic crises, making the region a flashpoint for wider conflicts. Somalia's break with the UAE is an attempt to reclaim agency, but it's a risky move in a crowded field. As global powers jostle for position, Somalia faces tough choices about its future, balancing the promise of development against the dangers of foreign interference. Somalia's decision sent shockwaves through the region's web of rivalries. The UAE and Saudi Arabia, once close, are now at odds, especially over Yemen and the UAE's support for separatists. Somalia has leaned toward Saudi Arabia, hoping for new support. China, with big economic interests, is watching carefully, pausing its diplomatic push until the dust settles. Turkey, a major Somali ally, could gain even more influence as Mogadishu distances itself from the UAE. Qatar, another UAE rival, may also step in. Local conflicts in Somalia are now inseparable from Middle East power struggles. Mogadishu is trying to play these powers off each other to protect its sovereignty. The challenge: avoid trading one foreign master for another. Somalia's path forward is full of risk and uncertainty. Losing UAE investment and security support could hit the fragile economy and create dangerous security gaps. Finding new partners, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or Turkey, won't be easy or immediate. But if the gamble pays off, Somalia could emerge stronger, with more control over its own affairs. The move could rally the nation and attract partners willing to respect Somali sovereignty. Ultimately, this is about more than a diplomatic spat. It's a fight for national identity and self-determination. The coming months will test Somalia's unity, resilience, and ability to navigate a world of powerful players. The stakes couldn't be higher for Somalia and for the entire Horn of Africa.